You think you've seen Ruby and James at their breaking point? Episode 4 of Maxton Hall Season 2 is about to prove you wrong. Heartbreak, secrets, and shocking confrontations push everyone to their limits, and no one is safe from the chaos. Brace yourself. This episode doesn't just tug at your heartstrings, it rips them out. The episode opens with an uneasy calm over Maxton Hall, a deceptive quiet before the storm. Ruby is still reeling from the aftermath of James' confession and the tension of the gala's success, but there's no time to breathe. Her days are packed with meetings, preparation, and the constant, nagging ache of unresolved feelings. The corridors of Maxton Hall feel different now. Every glance, every whisper, carries weight, and Ruby senses the fragile threads of friendship and love stretching thin. While she tries to bury herself in her Oxford preparations and gala responsibilities, a looming shadow hangs over her, James. He's been trying, desperately, to fix what he broke, but his efforts are met with her careful distance, a wall built from pain, mistrust, and the fear of falling again. Watching him hover near her, wanting to bridge the gap, is almost unbearable for Ruby. She wants to help, to comfort him, but every memory of betrayal flashes in her mind, reminding her of the heartbreak he caused. And the audience can feel it too, that twisting knot of empathy and frustration. Meanwhile, James is spiraling quietly, though he's desperate to hide it. The weight of his past decisions, the ghost of Cordelia's death, and the looming presence of Mortimer make him tense, reactive, and unpredictable. He's trying to be better, for himself, for Ruby, but he's walking a tightrope over a chasm of guilt and grief. The episode doesn't just show him struggling, it makes you feel it. Every glance, every hesitant movement, every whispered apology echoes with his inner conflict. James wants to repair the fractured bonds, but there's a haunting awareness in him that one wrong move could shatter everything irreparably. And this is where the tension grips the audience, knowing that the man we've seen so much hope in is teetering on the edge. Lydia's storyline in this episode is equally compelling, layered with fear, uncertainty, and raw emotion. After the revelation of her pregnancy and the twins, she's been cautiously optimistic, but the world around her is unstable. Every moment brings a new worry, from the scrutiny of Mr. Sutton to the overwhelming responsibility of impending motherhood. Her bond with Ruby grows stronger here, as Ruby becomes a pillar of support, showing loyalty and love despite her own chaos. But Lydia's vulnerability is palpable. You can sense the anxiety in every quiet scene, every hesitation, every look she casts over her shoulder, every whispered thought. The audience feels her isolation and fear, yet also her courage, making her journey one of the most emotionally charged arcs this season. The gala planning continues to serve as a backdrop for high tension and personal revelations. Ruby is determined to see it through, pushing herself past exhaustion, heartache, and doubt. Every setback feels catastrophic, not just for the event itself, but as a reflection of her inner turmoil. And the way the episode juxtaposes her determination with James' fragility creates a layered narrative where success and heartbreak are never far apart. It's impossible not to feel both pride and fear watching her navigate the chaos. As she coordinates every detail, faces financial hurdles, and manages personal relationships, the audience is reminded how much pressure she's under and how much she's willing to endure for the people she loves. Family dynamics intensify this episode, revealing cracks in relationships that were once assumed solid. Mortimer's interference is more pointed, his disapproval of James' progress, and his control over Lydia's choices creating tension that threatens to boil over. Meanwhile, subtle moments between supporting characters hint at deeper secrets yet to be revealed. The script uses these moments to create suspense without explicitly spelling everything out, keeping the audience on edge, wondering who will act next and what consequences will follow. Every interaction feels weighted, meaningful, and threatening in a way that slowly builds a sense of dread across the episode. And then there's the emotional crescendo. A confrontation between Ruby and James looms over the entire episode. Even before it happens, every scene is charged with anticipation. Ruby's heart is a battlefield, torn between love, anger, and self-preservation. James' face reveals the cracks in his armor, the regret he cannot articulate fully, the desperation that comes from knowing he's on the verge of losing the one person he cannot live without. Their interactions are tense, subtle, and electric, an emotional dance that keeps viewers leaning forward, waiting for the inevitable heartbreak. The audience is drawn into their private world, feeling every hesitation, every tremor of emotion, every moment of longing. It's impossible to watch without becoming invested, rooting for reconciliation, but also fearing the devastation that might come. The episode also introduces subtle foreshadowing that hints at darker turns. Minor incidents, small disagreements, and fleeting looks between characters serve as breadcrumbs leading to the inevitable climax. This masterful use of tension reminds the audience that Maxton Hall thrives on unpredictability. Nothing is safe, and no one is truly in control. Every laugh, every smile, and every gesture is layered with meaning, creating a sense of impending doom even in the calmest moments. By the time the first section concludes, viewers are fully immersed, emotionally invested, and anxiously awaiting the unraveling of secrets, heartbreak, and shocking twists that episode 4 promises to deliver. The tension escalates immediately after the gala preparations, as small moments begin to unravel Ruby and James' fragile understanding. Ruby is exhausted, juggling deadlines, planning logistics, and managing the emotional fallout from James' past mistakes. Every interaction she has is charged with emotion, from polite smiles to forced conversations. Even the simplest gestures, James offering to carry supplies, Lydia nervously glancing at Ruby, carry the weight of unspoken words and unresolved conflict. The episode masterfully amplifies the tension in these small interactions, making the audience feel as if they are walking the halls of Maxton Hall themselves, witnessing every hesitation, every lingering look, every internal struggle. The stakes aren't just the gala, they're every fractured relationship, every secret threatening to come to light, and every decision that could break hearts. James, despite his determination to fix things, finds himself slipping into familiar patterns of guilt and self-blame. The audience can see him trying, yet failing, to navigate the complicated emotional landscape that Ruby has created. He's haunted by Cordelia's memory and the consequences of his past actions, which makes him simultaneously sympathetic and frustrating. Every time he reaches out, Ruby recoils slightly, a visual representation of the tension between them. It's a delicate balance. The show allows you to empathize with both sides. You feel Ruby's hurt and frustration as keenly as James' remorse and desperation. This back and forth creates an emotional pendulum, swinging violently from hope to heartbreak, keeping viewers emotionally engaged and anxious about what comes next. Meanwhile, Lydia's journey takes an unexpected twist. Her excitement about the twins is overshadowed by fear of Mr. Sutton's reaction and uncertainty about the future. Every day is a minefield of potential disaster, and the script uses this brilliantly to increase suspense. Lydia's attempts to navigate her family dynamics, her fears about the pregnancy, and the subtle manipulation by Mortimer add layers of tension that ripple through the episode. You can see her internal conflict in every scene. Every choice is measured, cautious, and heavy with consequence. Ruby's support provides temporary solace, but the underlying anxiety never truly dissipates, keeping viewers on edge as Lydia's storyline unfolds. The episode also heightens suspense through unexpected confrontations and near discoveries. Mortimer's constant scrutiny of James and Lydia creates an ever-present threat, and minor conflicts explode into emotionally charged moments. A simple exchange in the hallway or a tense conversation over dinner can suddenly shift the dynamic, hinting at larger conflicts to come. The audience is left anticipating every new interaction, knowing that a single misstep could ignite a dramatic chain reaction. This constant undercurrent of danger and emotional intensity makes episode 4 one of the most gripping yet, keeping viewers fully invested in the outcomes of each character's choices. Ruby's internal struggle reaches new heights in this section. She is caught between her ambition for Oxford and her lingering feelings for James. Every scene reminds her and the audience how complicated love can be when intertwined with heartbreak, trauma, and personal growth. Her moments of quiet reflection, punctuated by brief interactions with James, Lydia, and Ember, convey the weight of her emotional journey. You can almost feel the tug-of-war in her heart, the desire to forgive and reconnect versus the need to protect herself and focus on her future. This internal battle is portrayed with nuance, making Ruby a deeply relatable and compelling protagonist. The audience is drawn into her thought process, sharing in her triumphs, disappointments, and moments of vulnerability. The gala itself, though still being prepared in this section, serves as a symbolic backdrop for tension and stakes. Every logistical challenge, financial hurdle, and personal conflict mirrors the character's emotional chaos. Ruby's meticulous attention to detail highlights her determination and resilience, but also underscores the emotional burden she carries. Every minor setback, an accidentally damaged decoration, a miscommunication with a volunteer, a forgotten invitation, becomes a reflection of her larger struggle to maintain control over her life amidst chaos. The episode uses these tangible challenges to heighten suspense, creating a sense of looming catastrophe that keeps viewers invested in the outcome. Meanwhile, James experiences subtle but meaningful growth. He begins to take responsibility not only for his past mistakes but also for the safety and well-being of those around him. His attempts to help with the gala, support Lydia, and navigate Ruby's emotional distance demonstrate a shift in character. He is still flawed, still haunted, but increasingly aware of the consequences of his actions. This evolution is portrayed gradually, with small gestures and quiet moments rather than overt declarations, making his growth feel authentic and earned. The audience can sense the tension between his desire to reconnect and his fear of rejection, adding depth to his character and emotional stakes to the episode. Unexpected emotional triggers add further suspense. A forgotten phone call, a misinterpreted glance, or a seemingly innocent comment can set off an emotional chain reaction, causing misunderstandings and heartbreak. The episode expertly manipulates these moments to create tension, suspense, and anticipation. Viewers find themselves holding their breath as minor incidents threaten to explode into full-blown crises. Every character's reaction is charged with meaning, revealing vulnerabilities, hidden motives, and unresolved feelings. The show does not waste a single beat. The emotional cadence keeps the audience fully engaged from scene to scene. By the end of this section, the pressure on Ruby, James, and Lydia is palpable. Relationships are strained, secrets are on the verge of being revealed, and the gala looms as both a beacon of hope and a potential disaster. Every narrative thread is carefully woven to heighten suspense and emotional investment. The audience feels every heartbeat, every sigh, every unspoken word, fully immersed in the intensity of Maxton Hall's world. Episode 4 is building toward a turning point that will test loyalty, love, and courage in ways that will leave viewers breathless. The tension finally reaches its peak as Episode 4 plunges into heartbreak and revelations that no one saw coming. Ruby's world, already teetering under the weight of love, ambition, and responsibility, begins to fracture. Every decision she makes now carries enormous consequences. Her hard-earned composure starts to crack when James, frustrated and desperate, pushes too hard for a connection she isn't ready to give. The audience feels the electricity of every exchange, the unspoken words, the lingering glances, the subtle tremors of vulnerability. Ruby's patience, tested beyond its limits, starts to waver, and the walls she's built to protect herself begin to tremble. Her emotions are raw, complicated, and messy, and the viewers are pulled right into her storm, unable to look away. James, on the other hand, is walking a fine line between redemption and self-destruction. The audience sees the full weight of his guilt, regret, and longing. He wants to do better, not just for Ruby, but for himself, but old habits, unresolved grief, and family pressures constantly tug him backward. Mortimer's interference is unrelenting, each interaction a reminder of the power he wields over James' life. And when James finally tries to act from a place of genuine care, the results are unpredictable. Miscommunication, timing, and Ruby's cautious heart turn even his best intentions into a source of tension and heartbreak. Every gesture, word, and moment of vulnerability is amplified, leaving the audience teetering between hope and despair. Meanwhile, Lydia's journey spirals into a dangerous intersection of fear and determination. After revealing her pregnancy, the threat of Mr. Sutton's manipulation casts a long shadow over her life. He begins plotting ways to control the situation, creating a looming danger that raises the stakes far beyond emotional turmoil. Lydia's struggle becomes both a suspenseful narrative thread and a deeply emotional one. The audience is drawn into her anxiety, her moments of joy and relief juxtaposed against the constant fear of losing control over her own life. Ruby's unwavering support becomes a lifeline, but even this bond is tested under the strain of looming disasters and moral dilemmas. The gala, which has been a symbol of hope and determination throughout the episode, takes on a critical role in this section. What should have been a crowning achievement turns into a crucible for conflict and revelation. Every detail Ruby meticulously planned is suddenly at risk, threatening both the event and the fragile relationships surrounding it. Minor mishaps, an equipment failure, a miscommunication with staff, unexpected arrivals, quickly escalate into moments of high tension. This is where the episode's suspense peaks, as viewers sit on the edge of their seats, fully aware that one wrong move could shatter everything Ruby has fought to build. The gala is no longer just an event. It's a pressure cooker for heartbreak, secrets, and confrontations that will define the season. The emotional climax is delivered through the confrontation between Ruby and James, a scene charged with intensity and heartbreak. Ruby finally reaches the breaking point. She expresses the pain she's carried silently, the frustration with James' repeated mistakes, and the exhaustion of constantly navigating his emotional chaos. For the first time, she sets boundaries with clarity and conviction. The audience can feel the weight of her words, the blend of love, disappointment, and fierce self-preservation. James listens, devastated but quietly taking in the truth he has avoided for too long. The scene doesn't just show heartbreak, it embodies it, making every viewer feel as if they are standing beside Ruby, experiencing the clash of emotions in real time. Subplots continue to heighten tension simultaneously. Mortimer's scheming and manipulation reach new levels. Lydia faces moral and emotional crossroads, and even supporting characters find themselves entangled in unexpected dilemmas. These intertwined narratives make the episode feel alive, unpredictable, and intensely suspenseful. The pacing is relentless, alternating between quiet, intimate moments and explosive confrontations, ensuring viewers remain fully immersed and emotionally invested. The episode doesn't just tell a story, it traps the audience in the emotional whirlwind of Maxton Hall. By the end of episode 4, consequences are unavoidable. Ruby's relationship with James hangs by a thread, Lydia's future remains uncertain under the looming threat of Mr. Sutton, and secrets buried in the past start to resurface with devastating potential. Every choice made, every word spoken, and every emotion expressed carries weight, building toward an even more dramatic continuation of Season 2. The episode closes on a cliffhanger, leaving viewers with racing hearts, a tangle of emotions, and an insatiable need to know what happens next. The heartbreak is real, the suspense is relentless, and Maxton Hall proves once again why it's a series that refuses to let its audience go.